Hey everybody, welcome back to the Resistance broadcast. I'm John. Thank you for joining us on this Monday, June 20th, and it is time, because summer starts this afternoon, to do the State of Star Wars Spring 2022 edition. We check in quarterly every season on our thoughts on the state of Star Wars. We don't pre-plan this. We don't talk about points ahead of time. We just open it up and have a chat and see what we get into. There's obviously a lot to talk about in terms of content coming out as we speak with Obi-Wan Kenobi, new episodes. But of course, what's ahead with Andor and a lot of stuff off the heels of Celebration. So a lot to get into, a lot different from our perspective when we did our winter version in early March. So I'm excited to get into that with James and Lacey, as always. How are you guys doing? We are back on our Monday show, but it's a discussion show. We're not really talking about news. I feel like there hasn't been a ton of news besides, like, you know, another interview with Hayden Christensen where he talks about how much he likes playing Darth Vader.
Or Taika.
Yeah, or Taika's still
like,
typing
I'm
away.
Still writing.
Yeah. Like the Kermit the Frog gif that everyone always uses, or Bruce Almighty. Just type. Though I will say, the one thing about Taika, which was interesting, which maybe we could just touch on to get things warmed up here, is what do you guys think about him saying, like, yeah, I'm going to do all new stuff, all new? And we've heard them say that before with these directors, but do you think it's really going to happen? And do you think there's going to be no connection to anything familiar on a big level? Like, you may see droids that are familiar stormtroopers, but I'm saying new.
I think he's being honest with that about it being all new. He had even gone as far as to say, like, you know, by keeping it in the Skywalker family, it seems really small and it should be a big universe. So I believe him when he's saying it's going to be all new. And I think that he wants it to be his own thing. That's just like who he is. He takes everything that he does and like puts his own spin on it, no matter whether it's something brand new from his own brain or Thor, which was completely different from the Dark World, which came before it. And I'm excited to see what he comes up with, honestly. Yeah. As you guys know, he was my choice for a director, so...
Why are you doing this thing where you're pretending you predicted everything that you didn't? What is this?
First of all, I didn't predict that. That was my choice. We made choices for directors. I chose two directors, Patty Jenkins and Taika.
You do the low-hanging fruit. Like, you pick the... And everyone's
that might be true, John, but I was still...
Oh my God, Lacey, like, should buy lotto tickets. Like, get out of here.
John gets so mad when I'm right.
Well, take a swing, right? Will you?
So every once in a while when I'm right, he doesn't like it.
Like, predict the end of a movie.
You got
once.
Rey Skywalker. Why don't you sit down, okay? You got that right.
Predict the end of a movie.
You got Avengers, whatever, right?
I predicted Endgame.
Captain America, which also I hated.
You hated Endgame?
No, I didn't hate that. I hated Rey Skywalker. I didn't hate Captain America.
Oh, I love Rey Skywalker so much. Can't wait till she comes back.
I know you do.
James, what do you think? Taika, all new? You digging that?
Lacey's right. How you digging that?
Yeah, I think it's true. I think that if he's given the opportunity, he's going to really go for it. The weird thing to me is that I remember having so many conversations about what that meant when Rian Johnson said it. And now that Taika's saying it, it feels like a little old hat. Like, we've already had that conversation. But it is interesting to kind of go back and think about what that means. Like, when he says all new, so...
I mean, Ryan's saying that, good point, James. Ryan's saying that he brought back, like, flashbacks, which we had never gotten before, force bonds, which we have never gotten before. So I guess the question is it, like, new to Star Wars or new, like, never seen?
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, so it's like, okay, reusing Luke Skywalker in your show. Okay, well, that's reusing a character. I'm having all new characters. Well, they're still going to use the Force. There's still going to be blasters. There's still going to be hyperspace, lightsaber.
No, I'm saying characters, though. Like, just brand new people.
I know, but I remember us toying that line when Rian Johnson said it, and we were like, well, they could embrace something but not call it the Force. You know, we were toying around with a lot of those different ideas. I'm not saying that was the best one, but I'm saying, like, how far can you get from Star Wars and make it all new while still clearly being Star Wars. Like, what elements have to be there? So it was an interesting discussion back in the day, but I mean, I don't know really where we're at right now. To me, when he says that, I just go, cool, new era, whatever. It's obviously still going to reference a ton of Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
You know? I don't take it as far as I did when Rian Johnson said it, you know. Not that they have different, you know, but I think it's just enough time has passed where I'm like, I think I get what Lucasfilm's putting down by this point.
Yeah, and Rian Johnson recently with the Glass Onion reveal, a Knives Out mystery.
It's a trilogy, right?
Well, he didn't say that. He just like, eventually we're going to get...
No, I think Netflix signed him for 2.
And then they'll probably sign him for more if he wants, you know, because I think it's going to be...
They got money.
Yeah.
Well, kind of, not really.
But he said,
I think they have money.
Eventually, when we make enough of these, I can drop the Knives Out moniker. So it sounds like he's not anywhere close to finishing these. So...
And why would you be? Like, his first one was so
honestly,
good.
for his well-being, he shouldn't come back to Star Wars. He's doing great, so...
I love those movies.
Yeah. I'm really excited for it. But
Me too.
We will talk about the state of Star Wars, so we kind of already touching on it here, getting things warmed up. But before we start, though, there's 2 things. One, congratulations. If you're an audio listener, you're not seeing this, but congratulations to Lacey for moving her location in her house. It looks the same. So you did a really good job of the continuity preservation. Congratulations.
Yeah. And just like every item is exactly the same, same setup, same lighting, same desk, same everything, because I didn't move.
Right.
There were so many comments, by the way, on
You're
last
in a
week's
different room. You just set it up exactly the same.
Nah. I feel like, okay, first of all, last week when I made that comment, like, I'm definitely moving, I really was going to move. And then my sister came to visit, and that just threw everything out the window. That being said, I know that's an excuse. The comments were hilarious because there were at least 5 comments of people being like, or tweeting at me being like, you're not moving. Why are you even saying this? Stop. So there's that. 2, when I do move, you're going to know because it's literally a completely different space. But the good news is that I've been reworking my whole setup. So it's going to be really even cooler than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, look forward to that.
John's gonna be jealous when I officially make the move, and he's gonna be like, "Wow, Lacey, it was worth the wait."
This is like,
thank you, John. You're so right. It was worth the wait. I'm so glad I did this and like took my time and like really thought about it.
Look at my setup. This is class. Okay, this is pure class.
Wasn't that conversation between John and I just so wonderful? It was such a pleasant interaction.
Well, James has increased his with the lighting and stuff like that. I have to get some lighting.
I have lights. Yeah. It's gonna be epic.
Yeah, I need to get some lights. I also want to get a better camera. We'll see what happens. But before we do move on, maybe so that I can get a better camera, Jacked Fish shirts available now at store.resistancebroadcast.com. Flying off the shelves. Thank you to everybody who has already picked one up, whether it's a tank top. It is summer season. Sun's out, guns out. Jacked Fish season is here. Get your Jacked Fish. It looks
like John's campaigning worked. Someone needs to go back and cut every time he says Jacked Fish out of our episodes into a super cut.
You're giving them a death sentence.
And James took my dream and made the design. And he now lives. Jacked Fish lives forever. There's always a bigger fish unless you're Jacked Fish. Then you're the biggest fish. And he could be yours. So go to store.resistancebroadcast.com.
And James is like, thank you. I don't have to be asked about this anymore.
Pick up your Jacked Fish shirt.
No. I think it's sticking around. We'll see what we'll do with it.
Yeah, it's permanent forever. So before we get into our discussion, we're going to start things off a little differently this week. So Lacey, what are we doing?
First of all, do you realize that Jack Fisher is more real than my move in my house at this point?
Yeah, it's a real shirt. Anyway, I own one.
Guys, it's time for the Patreon pod race. So there are lots of ways you can support us. You can like this video, comment, subscribe, be ready for when I make that move. You can follow us on audio platforms like Patreon or Spotify. Please give us a rating, 5 stars if you really like us, but let us know what you think about the episodes. It helps us, gives us feedback, improves, lets people find us, that kind of thing. You can follow us on Twitter at RBATSWNN, or on Instagram at The Resistance Broadcast. So if you want more than that and you want to be a part of the TRB community past the episodes in the comment section and want to be a part of our base and our community where you get exclusive episodes, Discord servers, and much, much more, you can head over to patreon.com/resistance broadcast starting at $2 a month. That's it, $2. You're saying that you want to be a part of the resistance and you want to support what we're doing here in our dream to talk about Star Wars and create cool videos for you guys. So we have a really great place. I'm not just saying that. Like, these people are really, really awesome. And we just saw a bunch of them at Celebration, and we're going to see a bunch of them next year, and we see them all over the place. But it's really, really cool. And if you like talking Star Wars, this is the place for you. So to be a part of the show, you have to be a general or spice runner, or you can also submit stuff if you want to do it at the $5 level or higher. But that being said, generals or spice runners get to be a part of the show. And before we do that, I want to say thank you to those people. So thank you to our generals: Carmelo, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Paul Olson, Frank Grande, Darth Hurricane, John Charlton, Nick Kratz, Christian Morales, Brian Smith, Matt Chitty, Danny, Mike Ramori, Matt Heath, Chris White, Brendan McLaughlin, Count Pepto, Samuel Zielke, who's one of our new generals. Welcome, Sam. And Val Trichkoff. Thank you guys so much. And our Spice Runners: David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gellner, Ryan Wara, Dave Hornack, Micah Harrison, Thomas Hennessy, Andrew Staley, and Jeremy Myers. Thanks for keeping it spicy. So this week we have another new general, which is always super exciting when we get to see someone and hear from them for the first time. We have Samuel from Australia, which is really cool.
So did I botch his name on a live show? I said Zielke. Yours sounds like it makes more sense. You probably said it right. I probably said it wrong. So Sam, welcome to the club. I probably said your name wrong. I apologize. Leave in the comments how we probably say it. But we're really excited to have you here. So his question was, there have been many rumors as to who will play Thrawn in a live action, from Pierce Brosnan, do the Star Wars Celebration mural. Do you guys remember that? Yes.
Crazy. Lars Mikkelsen, who's the voice in Rebels, among other fan casts. But if you had the power, Sam, what actor would you cast to play Grand Admiral Thrawn in the live action, and why? We also asked him this because his favorite character is Thrawn. So Samuel, take it away.
What's up, John James and Lacey? What's up, TRB? Now, live action Thrawn. Now, obviously it's going to be important to have someone look the part and have that screen presence. But I think Thrawn is a very special character, and you need someone who's and is more important, to also sound the part, having that confidence, sounding smarter than everyone else in the universe, being 10 moves ahead, but also at the same time kind of scaring people and being very cold and calculating. And for me, because he did an amazing job in Rebels, Lars Mikkelsen, and also being an audiobook guy and being used to Mark Thompson, I never could pick up on the difference between Mark Thompson and Lars Mikkelsen. But yeah, that's who I would pick to be Grand Admiral Thrawn in live action. But yeah, thank you for having me, guys, and have a great show.
Nicely done. Awesome job for the first time. You're a natural. John, what'd you think?
So it's interesting because he must have been so excited, because I like seeing your backgrounds. I love doing that, Sam. And you have a lot of Mando stuff. So you must have been just completely just jacked, like jacked fish, when Ahsoka brought up
I thought
Thrawn
we were over this as soon as the shirt came out.
in Mandalorian. You must have been like, oh my God, I love Mandalorian already. And now they're talking about my favorite character. So I want to hear you need to tell me what your reaction was when you heard Ahsoka say your boss, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I'm very curious to hear how you felt when that happened. But your answer, it sounds like you like continuity. You feel like Lars Mikkelsen is the guy. I thought we read a report recently that he said he wasn't doing it, or they said he wasn't doing it. I could be making that up.
I don't remember that. I actually remember a report that said Pierce Brosnan was doing it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think Lars Mikkelsen is a fine pick. Mine has always been Michael Fassbender. But I can't argue with your pick. You did a great job, and I appreciate the kind words and all that, and you just signing up and knocking it out of the park. You just signed up and you're like, pod race time, let's go, and you did it, man. So thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Great job,
James.
I agree. Great pod race. Great pick. It's kind of one of those things. I was having the conversation with somebody recently, and I said, is it like given, I don't know if it was exactly these choices. I think it was more just like we were talking general, like Jude Law or someone, whatever, whoever was going to be Thrawn. And I brought up the Lars angle of like, that's his voice. And we kind of had this interesting discussion about, is it more important to nail a look or the voice? And I thought for a lot of cases, it probably would be the look. But to me, Thrawn is so synonymous with the way he's delivered in Rebels. And then also in all of the, like 5-6 books that, that have been done. Granted, that's a different person reading, but they're obviously mimicking that voice that, that was set forth with Rebels. So it's, to me, that voice is Thrawn, and I've yet to really see him in live action. And at the end of the day, they could just kind of pull like a Grand Inquisitor and he could look a little different and I'd get used to it or whatever. But like that delivery is so important that I'm kind of leaning towards Lars as well. But we'll see. I don't know. It's a good pick. It makes a lot of sense. I think I'm with you.
Samuel, great job. I love the Grogu. I got to get mine back in my background. I don't know where he is. He's somewhere. He's on a trip. He's traveling the galaxy with Mando. But yeah, I loved your pick with Thrawn. I think that's honestly one of the first things people think of because they just know the voice, kind of like with Ahsoka. But hopefully whoever does get chosen to be Thrawn is someone that you really enjoy, because I think that story that's about to be told is, I know James was super pumped when he got mentioned in that episode of Mando, so I can only imagine how you feel if your favorite character is Thrawn. But yeah, thanks for being a part of the Resistance. We're excited to have you and get to know you. And now we're going to head to John for the discussion.
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
All right, as we teased at the top, the state of Star Wars, we're checking in. We usually do this about 4 times a year. Now that we are after Celebration, we may have different perspectives. And of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi almost finished. So let's just hop into it right now. I think the state of Star Wars is in 2 different camps. And as much as I'm loving, and I think this is going to be a more of a positive discussion than the one we had in March, but I feel like
Do you
as much
remember
as
2 years ago when Kathleen was like, we need to take a breath?
Yeah, last fall. So as much as I'm loving all the live action TV, in the last episode of Kenobi, I gave a 9.5. Absolutely loved it from start to finish. I thought it was brilliant. I thought everything about it was great. And I didn't even bring up on Wednesday, I feel like the music took a step up in that episode too. I'm really starting to miss the grand spectacle and big budget, fat, heavy Star Wars theatrical movie already. And I know it's only been 3 years, but there was a time where they were like, we're going to do 1 Star Wars movie a year and stuff. And maybe that was too much, but I feel like that appetite is creeping back. And I like that we're getting this live action stuff because it's very good, but you can tell that it's not the biggest budget and they're making cuts where they need to. Using the volume, of course, is a big help. I just miss those movies. That's where I'm starting.
James, what do you think?
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
John,
I think...
are you okay? John's got a sickness, and the only cure is more Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I hope that's it. I am a little under the weather, so this is a hero podcast for me. So I want to thank everybody for all your support for me being a hero tonight. Thank you.
Oh
Great.
my god.
Oh
my god, what? That might have been the dumbest thing you've ever said on the show. Go ahead, James.
I had a tickle in my throat.
What's
I
that,
could not stop. It was just like...
John, you want to give everybody your Venmo so they could just send you kitty money?
Yeah, please.
All right. No, it is a toss up because it has always been that riding the line of like, do you want Star Wars all the time? No, let's make it special. And then it's like riding a really long time with no Star Wars, and everybody's like, just give me more Star Wars, you know? It's like there's no winning. And I think like we kind of have made like we've come to the conclusion that Disney is putting TV forward, and they're going TV forward for a while. Now we're starting to see a little bit of the ramifications of that. We're like, man, this is awesome. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. We're getting animated shows. We're getting live action shows. This is crazy. But then there's always that like other angle where it's like, but what's going on with the movies? And it's noticeably kind of missing. So I think we are getting to that point now where we're starting to get a little hungry, but I think they're going to starve us a little. I think it's going to go a little bit further than we like. I don't think they're going to give it to us right at the right time, because the right time would be probably the end of this year or maybe next year. It's possible, but I am almost eyeing that. Well, what's on the schedule? We should know that, right?
Yeah.
The official right now is 2024?
2023, and it's not going to happen.
Oh, okay. All right. So 2023. So it is on the slate for next year, but it's not going to happen because it was Rogue One and
Rogue Squadron got pushed aside, and Kathleen Kennedy said the next movie is going to be Taika's, and he's still talking about
writing it.
Story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
every time I hear him talking about writing it, I just think of that meme of SpongeBob with the pencil, and he's like, din, 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 and it's like zooming in, and then he just writes the.
Yeah.
I haven't watched
very similarly
SpongeBob,
Doug.
Yeah, Doug.
Did you ever watch Doug?
Yeah.
He had to write a report on silt and everything, and every time he looked at his paper it said silt is.
Yeah.
that's all he could get down.
For perspective. Go ahead, Lacey. I'm
Jen.
sorry.
I was just going to say that I didn't think that I would miss movies, because I feel like I was someone that was very much like, oh, TV's great. I could watch it whenever I want. I could watch it in my house. I can do whatever. And I've always been that person that's like, on demand is great. I'm all for it, especially during this COVID time and whatever. But I have to admit, when we went to see Top Gun in the movie theater during Celebration, I hadn't been to the movies since The Rise of Skywalker in 2019. That was my first movie, was Top Gun. Way to pick the best one to go see, because it was amazing. And the experience of being in the movie theater was really awesome. Now, I was really tired, but that being said, I still had a great time. And there's just something about being in the movie with a crowd of people when you're excited to watch something. And I didn't get to experience the premiere with these guys, so I don't know what that was like, but I'm saying the Kenobi premiere. But the Top Gun screening with all the diehard fans that wanted to see it that first Tuesday, it was really, really fun. And I think it made me like the movie more when it was already a really good movie to begin with.
Yeah.
What's a comparison, like when people like artificial, like when something's like not quite there and you think it's going to hold you over for a long time. Like, I think we were sort of disillusioned by the Mandalorian, and everybody was rallying behind it, and we were like, oh, it's live action Star Wars, and it's just this kind of thing. And it's like, I do love the live action stuff, but I think we're getting to that point now where we're seeing it and we're almost so used to it now, we can see the volume, and we can see we're criticizing every planet that they're walking on because it looks like the backlot of LA or whatever. And I think we're starting to get that point now where we're going, okay, I can tell this is not quite up to par. Give me the pro.
I don't know about that.
Give me the pro line.
I don't feel that way. I feel more on the side of it comes and goes so quickly. Like the TV gets built up as like, oh, here it comes, 6 episodes. And then that 6 weeks is gone so quick. And now I know you're thinking like, oh, well, movies are gone even less. Lacey, that makes no sense. But the build up to the movie feels more hyped and longer than I feel like the TV shows do. And that's my favorite part.
Higher marketing
the anticipation budgets. Of the movie. Right.
Except Solo.
I was going to say except Solo.
Which I am going to do a video. I received a special package from Ron Howard, and he gave me, actually it wasn't Ron Howard. It was really Bob Iger. I call him Robbie.
It wasn't Bob Iger.
And he sent me this box, and it was so cute because if you hold your fingers on Mickey's ears, then it opens. It's like a special unlocking box. A beautiful box. Thank you, Bob. It has the entire marketing slate for Solo. I'm going to do a special video for our channel and go over all of it. It's going to be awesome.
He gave him the inside scoop, the strategy, the booklet,
gonna be
the
great.
presentation.
It's going to be great.
Best and graduate.
But in terms of movies, like, there's no way Taika's is coming out in December 2023. So I think we could already, like, they haven't done it yet, but you can cross that date off because, for perspective, The Force Awakens was already well into filming in this time of 2014, due for a September the following year. And people were like, man, that's kind of cutting it close. I can't believe it. He's still storyboarding and like putting his like plot together and stuff. There's no chance this movie is coming out in December 2023. So it's going to be a while for Star Wars movies. That's why I'm curious what Celebration next year. It's going to be another heavy focus on Disney Plus and probably Indiana Jones, I guess, again. Because that's my only... I want to turn this positive because we have a lot of... Kenobi's been awesome. Andor's coming. But no one's really talked about this that I've seen but me. Isn't it kind of crazy? We went to Star Wars Celebration, closed the doors on that final day, and the only movie they talked about at Star Wars Celebration was Indiana Jones 5. That's wild.
And I think they knew you were going to say that, so they were like, here's Harrison Ford, so you don't think that.
That was amazing. Yeah. And I'm all about them. I remember saying, like, I think we're going to get Indiana Jones. I don't mind them doing that. Like, it's... Indiana Jones and Star Wars go hand in hand, in my opinion. They're very...
So does Willow. Yeah.
So if they want to do the whole Lucasfilm thing, that's fine with me too. But the fact that we're in this weird time where it's a convention just for this movie franchise, Marvel doesn't even have one. There's a rumor they're going to do it. And there's no movies to talk about. It's crazy. And Marvel's doing just as much with Disney Plus, but still chugging out movies. So... let's ramp it up. Find that person, Kathleen. Find them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, a lot of people felt that way coming out of the panel. I remember hearing that a lot from people going, it's weird. Like, I'm not mad that we got what we got from Willow and stuff. Like, I'm excited for those things, but it does feel a little strange, almost like as if like we're all excited about Marvel stuff, but if they were in there showing Marvel stuff, we're like, well, this is Star Wars Celebration. Like, I love Marvel and I'm thankful that you're giving me the trailers and stuff, but there was something kind of strange about it. And like, I don't know, like, I guess because they're thinking, well, who's the best audience for Willow? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, we could make this an hour, but let's make it 90 minutes and it's just bonus. So we're thinking we're losing portions of our 90-minute presentation, but the probable reality of it is we're gaining 30 minutes of our 60-minute presentation. So it's like, it's just a weird way to look at it. I don't think anybody was mad about it, but I do think there was a little bit of a takeaway. And like, I kind of was hoping we would get more Star Wars news. And like, I'd say 30% of that panel was not Star Wars stuff.
And I think it would have been Mando, except because they wanted to do the Willow and they wanted to do the Indiana Jones, they shoved Mando to its own thing.
And I feel like
and almost deservedly because of the whole Filoni universe.
And Mando,
they weren't going to show Ahsoka. They weren't going to show Skeleton Crew.
Right.
They don't need to sell people on Mandalorian, so like it's going to get its own panel. You know, that stuff. Like, Mando is so solid right now. Like, anything under Favreau and Filoni, I feel like, is the thing that's on the firmest ground. And Tony Gilroy, I got to give him...
well, except for the...
respect, too, for Andor.
What's the show?
Rangers?
That got canned. Yeah. Which I still keep
we know
seeing
why,
people
though.
talk about, it's no, I understand, but and I get that, but I'm saying that's the one thing that's kind of shaky. But like, I still keep seeing things where people are like, it's not currently in production, but it's coming, and I'm like,
yeah, it's on their logo things.
Well, which, you know what's funny? Like, I didn't hear like Mando, the new trailer, the 2 panels pretty much with Mando involved in it. At Celebration the whole weekend, I didn't hear one person talk about Gina Carano or like, where's Cara Dune? It's like people like forgot about the character. And
I saw one cosplay and I thought, you know, it's all fair, but like, that person is probably very bold, or they just like literally don't care. Like, you know, like they just don't, they're not going to get into the political aspect.
Or they're not even on social media. They're just
doing.
like, oh, I love Cara Dune. Great character.
Yeah, or something, yeah. But I only saw one person dressed up as Cara Dune, and I thought, oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, no one was like, oh, well, I wonder what they're going to do. And I didn't hear anybody talk about that, including us. So
yeah. And when people were kind of going back like, oh, we didn't hear about Taika's thing, we didn't hear about this, nobody asked about Rangers of the New Republic either.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're all just kind of like closed the
people
door
were
on it.
Yeah, and the big thing I heard a lot of people surprised about was Acolyte. That we got nothing on Acolyte.
That's true.
I agree. Yeah. I think maybe because that's not as far into development for them to have given
I think they're
anything.
saving it for next year. I think they're saving it for next year's celebration. They're saving
Is it
that.
shooting in Europe at all?
Ooh, you might be right.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
That rings a bell. You might be right.
Because they might be able to bring props over to London,
or
they might be able to,
Andor will be filming during Celebration,
but it will already be out.
Let's all get the giant garbage bags and show up at Pinewood and try to get on. That'll be our way to get on the show. We'll get on the show.
I'll never forget when I worked Celebration in 2016. A group of people got to go to Pinewood after the show, and I wasn't one of the people, and I was so sad.
We're going this year.
We're going
next year. Yeah.
Okay, who has connections that's listening right now? Shoot us an email.
Get us into
Broadcast at gmail.com.
Get us into Pinewood, or we'll have Lacey annoy you every week on the reg until you get us what we want.
What? First of all, you only got one because I had that joke.
How dare you? Chris and Andy, do you hear what's happening right now if you're listening?
Write in the comments that I'm right.
Yeah. Right.
Let's make this a team effort.
So listen, here's the deal.
All those guys are treasures.
This isn't like wanting the movies. People could be like, oh, you're greedy and stuff like that. But it's like, no, it's just we want more Star Wars. And we, saying I miss the movies isn't saying like I'm not liking Disney Plus. I would give me both.
Yeah. I'll take anything really.
Yeah.
Star Wars wise. The interesting thing though, when I think about these State of Star Wars, if you were to go back, which we should do this, James, is make a playlist of all these specific episodes back to back to back so people can listen through them. I'm sure if you go back like 2 years ago, we're like, oh, all these movies are coming up and we have a couple new shows. And then after that Disney Investor Day, we're getting all these shows. And then the last time we talked about this, we were getting 11 series. Do we know where we're at this point? Is anybody keeping track how many series they've announced?
The one before the announcement, that was the one where I went off on Kathleen Kennedy and I was like, you're a producer and you're not producing.
Because she said, oh, we're taking a break, we're taking a breath or whatever before they've announced all that stuff. It's just interesting
I would like
to think.
See what the count is at this point. Yeah,
because the rumblings were 11. That number was the one that was out there. 11 series in the works. But I wonder if it's more than that at this point.
And we always do a sort of check-in on how we feel about the future of Solo and stuff. And I think I feel better than I did last time, just based on Celebration. Like, John Kasdan was very candid about his hopes for the future of the characters and stuff like that. And he said, Favreau would be the guy because Favreau loves Solo so much. But I think he meant, like, Kira in the era of Mando and that sort of stuff. So I'm not sure about Han and Chewie, but then, Kathleen Kennedy sort of walking back her comments a bit about the recast stuff. They're obviously still looking to work with Donald Glover for Lando.
And she did that during Celebration, because at the beginning of Celebration, everyone was like, hey, man, we're on your side. We stand by you after what was said. Like, the first couple days, we kept hearing that from people.
Yeah.
And then she made those comments, and then people were like, hey, you see your comment?
Yeah, she said there's always room for more Solo. It's like, can you not like say something like that just to like, is it a sweep away comment just to like, all right, get out of here, kid? Like, like when you give your kid a cookie so he leaves you alone. Like, I don't know, but
like it's very clear we're never doing that. And then a couple days later, never say never.
Right.
It's like,
and it's just like,
just say never. You literally.
It's like
just
when your
said
parents
never.
said you can't have a puppy. Like, we're never getting a dog. And then they're like, well, maybe if you're good. And you're like, oh, if I'm good, I'll get a puppy. But they know. You're like,
right. It's like people telling you you're not allowed to go to Pinewood Studios. And you're like, well, But
the weird
the
thing-
Lando thing is the one thing that's a little strange because
Well, really quick before we go there, I want to talk about John Kasdan really quick because he is the person that's probably the most riled up that could get something going with Solo.
He's definitely shepherding the professional side of the cause.
And my thoughts on this is like sometimes when we're talking about Make Solo 2 happen, we're like, for God's sakes, they're doing a Willow sequel. Like, how is Willow getting a sequel? But my thing now is I'm looking at that Willow sequel and I'm like, oh man, I hope it's a hit. I really hope people like that. Like, I hope the writing's good. Yeah. I hope like everything involved with that is good because it just helps to say like, John, good job again. Like if Solo happens and Lucasfilm didn't react well to it, and then they also do Willow and people don't react to it, then I don't know if maybe his like writing cred is going down and maybe his connection to properties that aren't successful. I mean, I'm hoping the best for Willow, but obviously now I'm kind of looking at it as like a little bit of that like test of like Ron Howard and that world of, with John Kasdan and stuff like again. And I hope it's successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lando thing is the one thing that I'm hanging a little bit of hope on is because they're like, we're waiting on Donald Glover's availability and stuff. To the point where it would just make a lot of sense to rework that series to incorporate Han and Chewie, get Lando in, but maybe not, it's all Lando so that he can still do it, but not at a full commitment, which sounds like he's very busy with other things and they're just waiting for him. But we'll see. And, I just wanted to check in because we are still rooting for more Solo, especially after meeting Jonas. We met Jonas.
And people were yelling Solo in the panels with Ron Howard and John Kasdan. That's what I loved, is at the showcase panel and the ILM one on Friday. I wasn't in the ILM one, but you guys were. But at the showcase one, I know for a fact I yelled Solo, and Ron looked at me. I was like, "Make Solo do it!" And other people were yelling it in the back of the room. You guys said they had a chant, right?
That even if you guys did, there were definitely people that were not you guys.
There were people in the back.
But you guys said there was a chant, right?
There were people in the back.
I want to like make that clear sometimes every time this gets brought up that people were chanting it. Like it always seems like we jump in and we're like, it was me, or whatever. It's like there was more than you guys. Like it was a fan thing. It wasn't just us supporting that.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I was one of those actively loud people that was doing it. But you guys said in ILM, wasn't there people chanting it in the back too? Like 2, 2, 2.
So at the ILM panel, I screamed "Make Solo 2 happen" when they were talking about Solo. It wasn't like, they were talking about, Phil Tippett making tauntauns. They were talking about Solo. I screamed "Make Solo 2 happen." And that's when like a lot of people in the crowd were chanting 2, 2, 2. And Ron Howard goes, I'm not in charge of making those decisions. In other words, saying like, yes, but and then
he was telling people stuff like, you're going to get me in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was the stage crew was wearing their Make Solo 2 happen shirts.
Yeah. And he said, yeah, you guys are going to get me in trouble. But yeah, so yeah, who knows what's going to happen. It just makes so much sense for them to do it because of all the reasons we've listed, including them already having all the updated digital assets, including Jabba's palace. They have the Falcon. So
they can do huts now.
Oh, it'd be such a good series. I mean, but
I want the puppet, but the ones in Boba Fett did look really
who
good.
knows what's going to happen there. So, but that's our Solo check-in. So we're still holding out hope. So keep using the hashtag, and we'll see what happens. But in terms of other stuff, like off the heels of Celebration, like we met Jonas and. We had a really good time, and we didn't really do a full recap of Celebration, but I feel like we sort of did live in a sense, with our event and our videos we put out. So I don't want to do like a full recap of Celebration, but we can talk about looking ahead to Celebration 2023. But in terms of like the state of Star Wars, like with Kenobi wrapping up soon. Like, do you guys remember how you felt going into Kenobi, and do you feel any different now that it's almost done, or how you guys feeling overall with Kenobi?
I've loved it, but I think I went into it completely, to be honest, like with a lot of hype. So, not that I had expectations because I didn't know where it was going to go, but I really want to see Qui-Gon Jinn. So I feel like if I don't see him, I'm going to be disappointed.
And Palpatine, no Palpatine yet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is Monday. I was like,
Yeah.
by the time this episode airs, we'll already know.
No, not yet.
I gotcha.
So, like, I feel like I'm waiting for that interaction, especially because the first 2 episodes, he's, like, mentioning him by name, that I'm like, come on, if they don't bring him in. But I've really, really enjoyed it. And I've really loved the story that they've told and how they've told it, and the way it's been shot and written, and the acting has been amazing. I think Tala is one of my favorite Star Wars characters now. Like, she was just so great. But I'm not going to lie. I think my hype has already moved on to Andor based on what we saw at Celebration. It looked so over the top, cinematic, amazing. And James had mentioned it in our recap last week. With the volume, it looks amazing, but it definitely, you get this sense of they're in a room. They're in a room. They're still in a room. They're in another room. And to be fair, you know, a lot of Star Wars is like that. They're in bases, they're in whatever. But I mean, when we're on Agent Kloss, it doesn't feel like you're in a room. You're in the jungle. So there is kind of, I think we're seeing the limitations of the volume, even though it's amazing and crazy technology. And like,
I think we've seen the magic trick so many times now, we're starting to piece together how it works.
The boundaries and where it ends, kind of. And I've seen like even the behind the scene pictures of like where they have the Razor Crest in it and there's snow and you see where the stage ends.
Yeah.
It's like in your mind, even though if it's not true, your mind is putting an edge on this space.
It's pulling you out.
I think Mandalorian is doing better, or like, so the episode, wait, I'm trying to think where we were. This was Book of Boba Fett, the one with the big long shot where he goes up the elevator and goes around the table and all that.
Yeah.
I was like,
Bryce Dallas Howard.
none of that looks
Bryce
like it was
Dallas Howard,
shot in. Yeah, none of that looks like it was shot in the volume. If that was shot in the volume, wow. Like incredible. And yet I'm watching Kenobi and I feel like I can literally see the line.
It's a lot of
like
caves.
Circular line.
A lot of
There was I was trying to describe this on our live show on Thursday and I don't think it came off right.
Wednesday?
It's like, oh yeah, that's what I meant. Like it feels like there's a green screen, but it's not like a green screen room. You just have one wall that's a green screen. So in some cases, you have the stormtroopers like facing the green screen, and then you're like, cool, we got that shot. Now we need to show the front of the stormtrooper. So he just turns around, and then they film him facing away from the green screen. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
But it's like when I know that that's a green screen and I can see the difference, you're not convincing me when you switch from that shot to that shot. To me, it just looks like you turned him around.
Well, and
and I know where the wall is.
The location environment is just a part of it. And
I get that.
so there
I totally do.
the scene where they filmed the prequel stuff. I think someone showed, it might have been a legit showing of this, not a leak, but they did like full green screen of the clone troopers in that first, scene from Kenobi or whatever. So I thought that was interesting. But hearing Ewan McGregor talking about the differences is, I think, a good measure of what the differences are, and him talking about the last scene of Revenge of the Sith where he's on like a gymnast horse thing, pretending he's riding it, and then having to turn around and do the same thing. And he's like, This time they had me on an actual camel. I'm like,
yeah.
So there are a lot of differences that...
He wanted to keep the camel.
Yeah, because they said he was retiring from acting the camel. Good for that, a camel. But like, there's a lot of other elements beyond the volume that they're doing better than they did in the prequels. It was just like, everything's BS and we'll do it digitally. Like, they actually had him riding an animal, just like with the Orbox and the Rise of Skywalker. There were horses, and then they put markings on him and stuff like that. So they turned the camel into an Eope, and you can tell Ewan McGregor with the volume, but other aspects of it felt more comfortable filming this show than
I think it's
the
looked
prequels.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I've loved, more than the settings and anything else, it's been the interactions between Ewan and Vivian, little Leia. I think the stories there with Reva and Tala have really shined through. Setting-wise, though, I'm so excited to see what they do with Andor, because they did build those huge, gigantic sets in England.
Yep.
They've been going to all those locations. I mean, you guys know this, the people that are listening right now. for like over a year, we've been talking about, there was another location shoot for Andor.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Yeah.
like every week it was like a new place.
Yeah, and Tony Gilroy was one of the standouts for me at Celebration.
He was fabulous.
His confidence is a really like, okay, like this is
An excitement,
this show is on solid footing. And they're doing another season, and he's like, yep, and we're filming it this fall. And what I like about this guy is that he knows how to execute. He speaks with conviction at that panel. It didn't look like he was on script. He's like, well, no, we're not going to reveal that yet. We're going to wait on that. But I'll tell you this. And what I also like about the guy is he's not really a Star Wars fan. And I think
He's willing to gut stuff if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I like when Star Wars fans are acting and they're in Star Wars, like Oscar Isaac, was all about it and stuff like that. That's cool. And they like being in Star Wars, even if you're not a Star Wars fan.
Hayden was a big Star Wars fan, yeah.
Yeah, like people who enjoyed doing it, who may not even be the biggest Star Wars fan, they just enjoyed being a part of it. And they want to be a part of it. They don't like hate it or think they're above it. But when it comes to the filmmakers, I think sometimes you're better off not being a Star Wars fan doing this stuff. Like Lawrence Kasdan, he doesn't know about like the clone trooper garrisons and all that stuff. He doesn't care. He writes good stories about people, and that's why Star Wars is different than science fiction. He knows how to write conversations. He knows how to make relationships, create arcs. In my opinion, the best Star Wars screenwriter, probably not the biggest Star Wars fan. If he went on a trivia show, he'd probably lose. If you had to ask him specific things about names and species, no clue. The man knows how to write a script, knows how to tell a story. Same with Tony Gilroy. He even said, like, I think it's all kind of rubbish, but he knows how to tell a story in this world. And I think sometimes, like, the fan of something can make something good, like Cobra Kai. Obviously, a lot of people really love that.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
example.
it. There's campiness to it, but you can tell the passion is there. We're in this.
I love it. But there are moments, though, that when it happens, you're like, a fan wrote this.
Yes.
Like, it feels very fan fiction-y.
Yes.
But
yes.
I get what you're saying, John. It is nice to have someone like Tony come in with the original Rogue One and say, you know what? None of this makes sense. I'm cutting everything and redoing this.
Someone who doesn't feel like it's that precious, and someone who could like put Star Wars in its place, so to speak. And that might be the person that does things with it that are different. I don't know.
Do you guys
Taika's relationship with Star Wars? He did have sweet things to say about it, where he's like, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it knows what it needs to.
I think he doesn't care. I think he wants to put a good story out.
I agree.
I think he's the same as Rian Johnson. I think Rian Johnson cares a lot, but I think at the end he let it ring true in interviews and in his own convictions and choices with Star Wars, whether you like them or not. With The Last Jedi, he was there to tell a good story, and he did that.
Yeah.
Whether you like where it ended up or not.
Yeah, that's why it does not. To me, it doesn't make a difference whether someone who's coming in to write or direct a Star Wars movie or show is a fan of Star Wars or not. And I think even sometimes, as we were just saying, some examples prove that it might be better off if they're not.
So, side note, a little bit, just for fun, because I've been watching The Boys. Do you guys watch that show?
No, but Matt's been watching it, and I've seen the big scene that everyone's been talking about online.
Oh, well.
I have to start watching that show.
If you know what I'm talking about, the scene. Everyone's been talking about that scene.
Well, don't.
online.
Yeah, don't.
I'm not going to say it.
I don't even know what it is because maybe I do. But
Yes,
The
you
Boys
do.
is absolutely full of ridiculous.
Yep.
I can't believe they just went there scenes. So
Think of the most ridiculous things you can think of.
I watched the
Ant-Man.
recap of seasons 1 and 2 before I started 3, and I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot how ridiculous this show is."
They just got signed for, I think, another
season,
season, right?
So anyway, the whole reason I'm even bringing up the Boys is there's a scene like in the first episode or something where there's like somebody insulting the director of this movie. They made a movie about the Seven. And one of the lines she says while making fun of him is she calls him a crappy director because we all know Tony Gilroy had to come in and rewrite all his stuff.
I love that he's now transcended pop culture,
Yeah.
that they know he's the guy that guts things. Like
that's
he's the
a
fixer.
joke, like in a movie, yeah.
Which Carrie
in a
Fisher's
show.
famously that person too. Like she would come in and make
Punch
notes
up.
and yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say too is, and this is kind of news as well, since we're kind of a Monday episode right now. Thoughts on Kathleen Kennedy and her position on the future of video games, like kind of leading storytelling.
So,
did you guys see that?
You got to be careful with that because
I know
we made sure we headlined it because sometimes people only read headlines, and we found that out like with comments. If you go to any Star Wars News Net article on Twitter, people comment without reading the articles. But she just said she feels Star Wars storytelling is similar to how video games are constructed in their story. She did not say they're going to be influenced by how video games are. She just made a comparison, and there was nothing more than that. Yeah.
But I thought that the way it was all put together was interesting because when you play a video game, it feels like you watched 3 seasons of a TV show. You feel like I was kind of watching there's a Final Fantasy game that I was kind of like watching somebody play, and there's like 24-hour-long videos of this person playing this game, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, it's just, there's so much content there. And when you're watching it, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And I'm watching it play in the background, and I'm like, man, okay, here's a cutscene. I'll watch this part. But it's like so involved. And we got Jedi Fallen Order, and there was a lot of content and lore and everything that went into that game.
And then Kenobi took it.
What now?
And then Kenobi took that content, like the same hallway, basically the same scenes.
Oh, sure. I just mean in the sense of like how much time and investment and lore and everything that goes into the video game. I think we think about the movies and stuff and even these TV shows, and they're like, all right, well, let's tell 8 episodes, and there's a lot that goes into it. But when you're talking about hours and hours and hours and hours of content, like those games are huge. That's why they take so long to develop. We're on the verge of Fallen Order 2, and now we got a trailer for it. Like, I don't know, like your guys' thoughts on like the state of Star Wars when it comes to video games. Is it living up to your expectations? I know, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys haven't played Fallen Order, but you're kind of aware of it.
I opened it.
I've played it. It got too hard for me. I'm going to be honest. I like just shooting things. So I like the first person shooters of like Battlefront and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's and like Lego Star Wars. Like that was fun because it's button mashing.
Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga is a blast. And I think that didn't come out when we did this last State of Star Wars. I've been having a lot of fun with that. I haven't been able to play it a ton, but when I get a chance to, I have a lot of fun. Johnny comes down and watches me play. I give him a fake controller so he thinks he's playing.
Like, there's been so many conversations about like how Battlefront was like an EA and all those types of things. And like, where are we at when it comes to video games? Do you think like the general fandom is like thumbs up on where we're at?
I think so. I mean,
I think people are pretty excited for where the stories are going, especially now. Like I said, they're getting intertwined within the live action. It's like, oh, if I play these games, it does matter. It's not its own separate thing.
Right.
It's playing into the overall story of Star Wars. And I think that shows to the drive from Lucasfilm and the story group to have everything interconnect, which is very interesting to me.
And
but there should be a Mando game coming out, right, too? That was a rumor, or was it announced officially?
I don't know if that was official.
Well, supposedly there's a Mando game coming out.
I also forgot about the whole Eclipse thing because that's ways away. And
it's still happening.
Yeah, I know all the buzz online about people boycotting it and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of those people are still going to buy the game anyway. It's just, I don't know what's happening with that, but I feel like there's enough other games that they're developing that if a game's not coming out for 4 or 5 years, like, why even think about it right now?
Yeah, to me, the pushback on Eclipse, not the political pushback, I'm saying the pushback where they said 2026,
oh yeah, that feels like it's a billion years from now. Yeah, that
to me was, we canceled it. We're hoping
you think so?
All about it. I saw that, and I was like,
so too.
2027. You guys,
that makes sense, like, I guess. Yeah,
the fact that you guys put out this whole like trailer and cinematic trailer, and like it made it just really feel like we were on the verge of getting something new. Like, think about that trailer coming out, and think about where it, like Jedi Fallen Order 2, Jedi Survivor, if you will, is like, that came out before, and then we're getting now the trailer for this, and it's like Jedi Survivor is coming out later this year,
Yep.
or early next year. It's like
I think they weren't
saying
expecting
that
what they got.
2027 for that game.
Yeah.
That's like, we just hope you forget about that thing because it's probably gone. So to me, I don't know what, like, technically it's been released, that trailer. Is any of the trailer canon, or are we just supposed to forget it? I don't know.
But that didn't even feel
weird.
like that felt like it was from a different franchise or something. It felt like
Correct.
Dune
Like,
or
there
something.
were parts of it that felt Star Wars-y, yeah, but it was so different era or something.
Yeah, I'm not really, again, I rarely play video games, so it's not a big deal to me. I hope they put out games and I hope people like them and I hope they're fun,
I think the thing we're waiting on for video games, honestly, is the live action crossover. I know we just saw Purge Troopers and we saw Inquisitorius, but I think Cal Kestis, that casting felt very intentional with Dominic Monaghan.
Not Dominique. Cameron.
Not Dominic Monaghan. What's his name?
Cameron Monaghan.
Cameron Monaghan. Yeah. That felt very intentional, his age and everything. So I feel like when they inevitably put him in live action, then that's going to be
oh my
the
God,
sealer
people
of,
are going
like,
to lose that. Imagine that, like 2023, you're sitting in the room and there's a trailer with some guy there. You can't really see him. He's kind of shadowed and he turns around and it's him. Oh my God. People would lose it.
Yeah, I think the only one that tops him at this point is Ezra. And I mean, I know there's other, like, we're excited to see Hera as well, but I think, like, the hype behind a character showing up in live action, we've already technically seen Sabine sort of now, like, we know who the casting is and everything, so that's kind of done. I think it's Ezra.
Do you think
Thrawn
Hera
too is a good one,
yeah.
but I really feel like Cal is up there for people.
Do you think Hera is Mary Elizabeth Winstead? Ewan McGregor's wife?
I don't know.
I heard that.
Scott Pilgrim.
I tried
and
looking
Kate
at
and...
like their faces, and I'm like, I don't really see it. And I'm not comparing it to like Rebels animation. There's the Squadrons game where she shows up and she looks a lot.
Who does she look like
more-
on the Celebration mural from 2019?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. I was waiting for it, but nobody's done it yet. Maybe I should go do it. You take a video of Hera walking away from the camera and take a video of the same actress walking away from the camera and see if they match up, because
like
people
in a different show.
Because people walk the same way, no matter what they're.
That's a good point.
That's why, like, when you watch
I'm sure she probably
Mandalorian,
has tons of stuff in like Birds of Prey.
Scott Pilgrim, they
Death Proof.
Death Proof.
Those are older.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so because the whole walking thing is very obvious, like if you watch Mando season 1, you can always tell when it's Brendan Wayne, because he has a very like cowboyish walk, and he's the majority of season 1 walking around. So you could tell compared to season 1 to like 2, where you get more of Pedro, you can be like, oh, okay, this is Pedro, this is not Pedro. It's just kind of like a handwriting type thing.
I still
like
think,
everybody has a specific handwriting.
I agree with that, but I do feel like directors sometimes do try to make sure they capture certain types of nuances to how characters move, because that's a big part of what they talked about with Vader.
Totally,
for this
and I get
series.
that. I just think Hera is one of those people that probably doesn't have a very specific walk. However, Mando, I think Brendan Wayne brought in that cowboyish thing that probably Pedro took on, but season 1, that was just Brendan Wayne walking.
Yeah, like they when they were talking. I agree with you, absolutely. And and when they were talking about, I think it was Hayden actually talking about, no, it wasn't. It was one of the guys who did this, the biggest guy who plays Vader for the long shots, like the far shots. I
love how they have like multiple people playing Vader.
Yeah,
I think it's so
and
cool.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
He said they are studying David Prowse, but also using Hayden because of the middle ground of the time frame. So some of the movements are very David Prowse, like stiff and bodybuilder style, and some still have a little bit of that grace of Hayden, and they blended it for Kenobi. And I think that's so cool that they're doing that. Again, I said it on our live stream, but I feel like they've nailed Vader for this. And if they do more Vader,
really
like people make jokes like, look, give me, I always say like, give me a Vader movie or Vader series, and people are like, oh, they did. It was called episodes 1 through 6. Like, yeah. How about just more of that? How about just more Vader? Why not?
I always find it interesting that people will say they want something random And people will be like, yes. And then you're like, hey, I really want more of this popular character. And their thing is like, no. And you're like, wouldn't you want that?
The best is...
Shouldn't we all want everything?
You know me with the Twitter stuff. When people are like, Reva series when? I'm like, all right. And then you'd be like, oh man, I'd love to get more Vader live action. Hayden wants to do it. They nailed it. It sounds awesome. And people are like, episodes 1 through 6. Okay, so they already did it. Get out of here. Give me more Vader. Come on. Anyway,
There is
a little spicy for you.
I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but there is kind of one other angle to Star Wars that we hardly. talk about.
I have one more.
Oh, what is it?
Toys
Oh, I wasn't gonna say
They
that.
still make
or
those?
books.
I was gonna say publishing.
Why don't you go
And
into
it's
that and
like-
we'll touch on toys really quickly after.
I mean, I don't really think anything's changed. Like my stat on it is just too much, too often. It kind of feels like we're in a little bit of a lull, but like I think that a lot of people are feeling burnt out on High Republic, especially since we went into Celebration and we're like, okay, cool, they're gonna mount some more High Republic stuff, and it was like so much. Like it's like 2 full rows of books, and
the
it's like,
TV
that
show
is crazy. And they're like, hope you liked round 1. We're getting ready to head into round 2, and everybody, like, you already knocked everybody out. Like we're already like dizzy from all the punches you threw at us in round 1. I don't think we're gonna make it through round 2, and it seems like the slate is like to round 3. I feel like round 1 should have probably been the High Republic for a short while, and they should probably focus elsewhere for a little bit, do something else, let the publishing be whatever. But I don't know. Like, and I'm not against the High Republic. Obviously, I really like it, but I'm just trying to kind of reconcile, like, if you're starting to get a little bit behind, we're not slowing down. The avalanche is still coming.
Are people talking about it a lot? I feel like I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about High Republic lately.
Because we're at the state right now where the only people talking about the High Republic, it's like the third Chronicles of Narnia or something. And it's like, well, you're only going to see the third one if you went and saw the first one and you went and saw the second one. Like everybody went and saw the first one or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like you've diluted it down to like very few people are going to be picking up random High Republic comics or books when they're not like caught up. So the conversation is only really buzzing around the people who are absolutely caught up.
Yeah.
Speaking of buzzing,
In my opinion, I don't know.
the other
Maybe
part
they
of
are.
Star Wars, which we haven't really touched on at all because it just happened in Celebration, is there was a lot of staffing switch ups. We had like the Charles Soule consulting thing, which was in the program/website for Celebration. Then Phil from the art books, I always mess up his last name. He's now a part of the story group.
Showstack.
Yep. So it's interesting to see these people kind of shifting around in their roles at Lucasfilm. And what does that mean moving forward? Are they growing the story group? Did someone leave? Like, what does that mean? Because it seems like more people on the book side are moving naturally into the story group side, which is, you would think, related to the books and continuity and stuff like that.
I think the biggest thing is going to be like that person Kathleen Kennedy's talking about bringing in to be the rock of stability for shepherding the next
The Jon Favreau
films.
movies.
Yeah, wouldn't you think that conversation happened if she's still looking for somebody? She was probably like, John, do you want to come be our movie guy? He must have been like, I'm good. Like, no.
Yeah, I'm fine where I am.
Yeah.
I like my characters. I like my world.
I still want to
I'm
go
getting
do
a lot
other
of praise
stuff.
for it.
I don't want to be completely beholden to this.
Because she said, right, wasn't she saying that she wanted someone that was around? What was the quote? It was like 4 to 6
It's
years.
a commitment. It's a long-term commitment. You can't just come and do your movie and leave.
Makes me think of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days when he's trying to come up with taglines for diamonds. He goes, it's a long-term commitment. Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of too. Frost. Frost yourself.
I love that movie. It's in my top 10. So when I hear certain things, I think of lines.
Kathleen Kennedy's like, frost yourself.
I love Matthew McConaughey. He can do whatever he wants.
Just got frosted.
But long-term commitment. That's what I think of.
So, I mean, what's more original than someone stopping someone from going to an airport at the end, right? How to lose an audience in 10 minutes. That's what that movie should have been called.
That movie is a top-tier romantic comedy.
I like it because I like rom-coms, but it's not top tier.
It is top-tier rom-com material.
No. Adam Goldberg's great in it, but that's about it. So I know we're probably up against time because we have another
Can we
segment
talk about
to do.
toys really quick?
We can talk about toys, yeah.
So toys wise, I would say the biggest thing coming out of Celebration was that the next HasLab, which as we know, the previous HasLab was the Rancor, which did not meet its level of goals and backers, so it failed. The latest HasLab is the Inquisitor double lightsaber. So the interesting thing about this HasLab is that there are no tiers. There's no unlocking of anything. It is very straightforward. I believe it's $4.99, and that's what you get. You get the double.
They don't want to fail again.
Right. Exactly.
Can someone explain something to me about this, though? Is this just...
Sure.
Does this mean, like, they have a budget? So is this like, they don't want to make this item, so we need fans to fund it?
So a lot of things... What people don't understand is a lot of the figures that go to like Target or Amazon or anything, the figure gets prototyped and designed, and then those people are paying for that figure to be made.
Oh.
Like Target pays for that.
Yeah.
So that's why they get the exclusive. So like they get the...
Is this a new way of saving money for them? Is this all this is? Honestly?
No, I think it's just a way that they've built out the program.
But what happened to just
the HasLab idea is for them to make high quality collectibles and toys for fans in a way that they wouldn't get approval from the overhead company, but if they get enough fans to do it, then they're backing the project. And they had a lot of success with
it's
the
like
sales
their
barge.
angle to be like direct to consumer.
Right. So they had the sail barge, which was super successful. They had the Razor Crest, which was super successful. The Rancor did not do as well, which looking back, you wonder if they had known about Book of Boba Fett, if it would have done better. But then you have this one, which was very interesting that, you know, there are no tiers. It's very straightforward. It is what it is. Like, that's what you get. The funny thing is in the panel, some guy was like, I already backed it. Like in the audience, he had already backed it.
Does it auto spin?
I don't think it spins, no, but it makes different motions. And
how are you going to make me spend $500 on a lightsaber and that baby ain't going to spin?
Okay, first of all, everybody has different priorities of what value is. So you can't say, how can you spend $500?
No, I said, how are you going to make me do it?
You weren't going to buy it anyway.
If that baby spun, I may buy it.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, you would not.
They have cheaper ones that spin, probably.
Imagine you walking down the street at night and like you're like walking your dog in like a late night and someone just comes walking down the street with a spinning double-bladed Inquisitorious lightsaber.
It would be pretty crazy to have like a Galaxy's Edge quality lightsaber that spun like that.
I think the Hasbro FX ones are better than Galaxy's Edge.
That's what people are saying.
No. I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying to that caliber, not like plastic.
But I think so even more, not even so much for the spinning of the blades, the sound that their blades make when it is spinning is so cool.
Yeah. It is very cool.
I love
But they did make, there are sounds with that one, just like the Rey lightsaber, the Rey Skywalker one, that are sounds they got directly from Lucasfilm that like haven't been heard yet.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And stuff like that.
I mean, I hope it works. I hope it goes well.
Yeah. Other than that, the big thing for Celebration was Lola.
Yeah.
L0LA59. They have all different versions, from animatronic ones to little standing ones to probably plush ones eventually. That was the big thing, as well as Black Series. But the big complaint with a lot of Star Wars fans is the lead time. It's like they give you a year lead time, and I have to kind of give props to Yakface Online. Like, they made a joke the other day, which made me laugh, which was it was a birthday sheet cake on their oven. And they put a little sign in it that said happy anniversary to Anton Merrick and this other figure that haven't come out yet that said that they were going to be out by now. And it's obviously kind of sarcastic joke, but it's true. It's like with supply chain issues and toy problems coming from overseas, it's really put a big stamp on the toy industry of like not getting figures. So like we ran a contest for a George Lucas Skywalker Stormtrooper figure. We still haven't gotten it because it's not in yet. But then I'm seeing other people get them dependent on what person they ordered from. It's tricky. I'm interested to see where they go from here with figures, because their big moneymaker, which they're falling back on, is The Mandalorian, and they've shown that time and time again. If they have a chance to make a figure, it's either a Stormtrooper or a Mandalorian figure, because that year with Mando, season 2, they made all of Hasbro's money in the year from Star Wars.
But it was all Mandalorian season 1 stuff, right?
Season 2, I think. Season 2 was 2020? 2021?
2020.
But you're saying they were up to date? They were releasing season 2 stuff at the same time season 2 was coming out?
Yeah, because they were doing the Mando Mondays thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe with some of the merch. I just feel like sometimes when I'm seeing this stuff, they're like, hey, you know, new action figures for Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1. You know, I'm like, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And it's like they're missing the mark or something. But
they've been a little better,
that,
but they've been still, they announce them every Wednesday when the new character or something comes out, right? But the problem is the lead time's still a year from now.
But that's what I'm saying is a year from now, they're going to be like, check it out, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Reva, you know, and it's like,
still no Ben Solo. Still no, like all the creatures we saw in Solo. None of those. Therm Scissor Punch does not exist. So I don't know where they're going to go from here with their figures, but they are listening to fans, and I think they genuinely do want to make stuff. It's just they're held to secrecy and when they get information.
And speaking of that, something that is big news that for some reason is not getting big news is the firing of Peter Rice by Bob Chapek, who was a studio executive for his whole career at 20th Century Fox, which was obviously acquired by Disney. He was abruptly fired on June 8th without any warning and was not able to set any narrative. And like insiders and stuff are like scratching their heads at why the move was made. And the statement was that Chapek didn't think he was his guy and he didn't fit the direction of the studio. So I don't know where
he said something wrong to the wrong person at the wrong time. That's what that sounds like.
I don't know. This guy has been in the business for a very long time, and to dismiss someone that way, unless something comes out that he did something obviously massively controversial, it's one thing. But if he didn't and he just got fired because he's not a Bob Chapek guy, I don't like that.
Well, the big drama there from insiders is that Bob took all these different segments that were being run by people for a really long time and then funneled them into one person that's his person. That's the big drama with Disney.
Right. And typically, if someone does get fired, they usually do the classy thing and say they stepped down or they resigned. And
I'm resigning, I'm retiring.
they were just like, no, he got fired. And people are like, it's very odd. Usually they get to at least choose their narrative. And it's being called very, very controversial. And, you know, he's not a household name, but, you know, look into Peter Rice and how long he's been a movie executive in 20th Century Fox.
Do we think Chapek will be staying around much longer for Disney? Because the Star Wars Hotel is not doing well, supposedly. So that was like the big thing that they wanted, you know, to push in the parks.
I don't know. It sounds like he has a lot of power still if he's making a move like this, because these people who are, you know, in the industry who aren't being named, who reached out with comments, are saying stuff like, Peter is the best media executive of the last 25 years. He'll be fine where he goes. This sounds like this is a massive head scratching move. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, and it might be something we need to talk about because it could impact Star Wars, you know?
I feel, and the Bob Chapek thing too, like I am unsure because I don't follow it closely enough, but I only hear bad things or things that like people say they don't like him or whatever. But there's obviously a reason he's there. There's obviously people who like him, and there are positive things that he's doing. I just don't feel like you're hearing that side, or we're hearing that side. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't exist, and he's just like a train on fire. But I usually, with anything like this, I always go, it feels like the rumor's always like, oh, that person's going to be gone within the year. Like, just so much bad news. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I doubt it. like there's no way that president is going to get elected another 4 years. And then they do, it's like, because they have their supporters. It's just what we generally are hearing are the one side of the negative of that person. That's louder. So I don't know. I would be curious to figure out, maybe it's worth like a Google on like Bob Chapek, why he's great and why he's perfect for Disney right now or something. I'd like to hear that angle of it, because personally, I feel there is a lot of negativity around him, but I don't see him going anywhere. I don't see him like suddenly being fired and all the tabloids are like, told you he was going to get canned.
He seems like a very, like the opposite of an Iger who liked being a public personality, and he, say what you want about, Disney and some of their practices and, whatever, their wages, whatever. Bob Iger had a very warm personality he was a very likable guy. And
people liked him. Yeah.
He probably could have run for a political office and won. He was just one of those type of like John F. Kennedy type of guys that people just are drawn to. And then you have this other guy who rolls right out of the boardroom looking like Lex Luthor. And
he does.
He seems very internal. Like he's
Kingpin.
I don't see him going around making these appearances and stuff. He seems very rigid. He doesn't seem likable to me.
Now I'm just picturing him in the back, just wiping his hands after beating someone up, being like, I have the investor meeting to go to.
Yeah, all right. So I don't know. So the jury's still out on the Chapek thing. It's just, all I care about is Star Wars makes good stuff, and we're able to enjoy it, and everyone's able to have a good time with it. And if that happens under his banner,
is coming.
Then may he stay for a long time. So
I think we're in a way cooler position than we were a couple of years ago with just how much stuff is on the way, and it makes me excited about all the stuff that we don't even know that's coming. Like, there's definitely stuff that's being worked on that just hasn't even been announced yet.
Definitely. Yeah.
Although, side note, I'm really excited for Rebel Moon, which was Zack Snyder's Star Wars movie that got denied. It looks amazing.
It does look cool. He does always create cool visuals. So, so all right, let's pop through our next segment before we get out of here. We call it The Chosen One.
You were the chosen one!
All right, so each of us brings one Star Wars item to the table to discuss. It can be news, it can be anything that we find interesting that's related to Star Wars, anything. And just to have some fun, put a spotlight on it and talking about it. It could be literally a scene from Obi-Wan Kenobi, or it could be, a toy from Taco Bell, whatever. So James, we'll start with you. Did you have anything you wanted to toss out for this week's Chosen One segment?
Oh, it's interesting. I was taking the angle. Chosen One is so new to us. I was kind of taking the angle that it had to be like fan driven kind of a thing. Not like of staying away from official stuff. But my thing is and it's, I guess you could say it's Star Wars adjacent. But there is this band, I probably mentioned them before, but they're called Galactic Empire, and they are like a Star Wars themed band. They just take the music from the movies and TV shows and stuff, and they redo them. And they signed to a new label. They put out a new single a little bit ago, which was the Book of Boba Fett, which was a big one. But then just today, which is why they're on my mind, they did a Jurassic Park. They did the Jurassic Park theme. And I think they're kind of branching from Star Wars because they know there's only so many like big songs you can do. So I'm kind of interested just in their career, because they might spread to like the John Williams or like the Steven Spielberg world or something.
Where can you
like
hear
that,
it?
And they kind of just branch out.
Where can you get it or hear it?
I mean, you can go to their you can search Galactic Empire on like YouTube or whatever, but
are they going to start dressing up like Jurassic Park people?
Is like their new single. What was
They
that?
start dressing up like dinosaurs and stuff.
Possibly. I mean, I think they'll probably always stick to the thing, but what's really cool about their shows is that they're part of the 501st, and they're definitely like involved to that level. So when you go to their shows, it really is like Darth Vader and Imperial Guards and Boba Fett up there playing the music, and all of it is Star Wars, heavy metal, but now they're branching out, and the song that they did, the Jurassic Park theme, it just was really cool to hear in that angle, and I go, yeah, that's awesome.
That is cool. I mean, you can't go wrong with John Williams stuff, and it'd be cool to hear in that.
I feel like you would like
in
that
their
a lot,
styling.
John.
Yeah, I dig that. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. When's that come out? Or are they just making it now, or is it out?
I don't know when the album drops off the top of my head, but I do know that the song is out now. If you want to.
Oh, nice. I'll check it out when we get off here. I'll keep my AirPods on so I don't wake up my family listening to heavy metal Jurassic Park at 12 o'clock. All right, cool. I dig that. Lacey, what do you got? I think I know.
So my chosen one thing was this past week. I was working in my office and I had my baby here with me. And she was just kind of crawling around. And it's the thing that every parent goes through where you're like, no, don't go over there. You move her back on the mat. No, don't go over there. You move her back on the mat. So she started crawling and I was just kind of watching her, seeing where she's going. And she crawled over to like all my Star Wars stuff. And she like put her hand up and was like touching the stuff. And I took a picture and I was sharing it in our Discord server with our patrons, just as like kind of like behind the scenes, like, look what's going on with me today. And a bunch of people noticed that like the way she was holding her hand, Kylo on the box was doing the same thing back to her. And it just turned into like a funny photo moment
Kylo
thing.
and Rey, right?
Kylo and Rey, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
both
just
of them.
kind of one of those funny things. I was like, oh, she's being cute and this is super fun. It's Star Wars. So I posted online. I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. And just have fun with people. And Star Wars responded and they were like, she took her first step or crawl into a larger world.
Mhm.
It was fun.
Very cool.
Just a fun thing. Yeah.
Excellent. That's adorable.
I thought it was a cute picture, but then I was really astonished when it was pointed out that they carried, like you zoomed in and it's like they are all three like reaching out to each other. It's pretty incredible.
She's Reylo from an early age.
I know.
Yeah.
You start the next generation.
She's going to be really disappointed when she watches the 6-year-old movie.
You're like, all right, now this is how we establish expectations.
Yeah.
No, very cool. That's adorable. All right, so mine is, and you guys know a little bit about this, but we're gonna do a live wrap-up show for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we're gonna have this Wednesday our episode live covering part 6, and then the following week, assuming they don't surprise us with like a part 7 out of nowhere, we'll do a season wrap-up show like we like to do, which is usually more of a lighter show and we have fun. So I thought, since there's a lot of things we didn't do based on food we wanted to do in Anaheim, including the pie bets, which I still owe you 2 smashes in the face.
We literally bought the pies and they were in a fridge.
In my fridge. Gone.
We're standing outside of the hotel in the morning at like 3 a.m.
Cooked.
And John goes, there's pies in my refrigerator right now.
They were unopened. Yeah. Oh, man. I think I should give more credit to me for not opening them and eating them when I was drunk one night. I like pie you with like a quarter of a pie. No, but we'll have to do that next time we get together. But we also didn't do Taco Bell eating challenge. So I thought we're going to do a little loosey-goosey fun Obi-Wan recap episode on June 29th. Let's each get the family pack box and see in that episode from start to finish who eats the most soft tacos.
I actually might change
Oh
my
my gosh.
answer to like, I think I might be able to do all of it.
You said like
All
3 or
10?
4.
Yeah, she said
I know.
She said 3, and I was like, 3 comes in the combo. That's what they expect.
I might change.
you to eat.
I think I can do all of them.
Is it 10?
I thought it was 12.
I thought it was 20.
No, it's like 12. I think it's a dozen.
Yeah, I
Let's
don't know
look it
what
up.
it is, but I can guarantee you, I will. I'm not a pusher. Like I will not try to get very high.
I plan on
won't
throwing
eat
up
until I'm
at
like
the end of the show.
I am full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm eating until they're gone because I want to win.
No, I'm going to win.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you'll have to push very hard then to at least beat me. Because I will eat until I'm full and then maybe have a few more bites.
it is 12 tacos.
Yeah.
So we all have to get the same ones though. Like it either has to be all soft or all crunchy. We have, as long as we all have the same exact thing in front of us.
Oh,
I
that's
thought we
fair.
were getting the basic, what is it?
12 soft tacos, right?
Yeah.
All
the
right.
Supreme soft taco or just regular?
If you
I may
guys,
call out of
if
work the
anybody
next day.
listening, for all the people that are still listening, can we figure out if it's better to eat flour or corn?
I'm going to eat the soft tacos
That's a good
because
point too. Yeah.
the crunchy ones are hard to eat and they stab you in the mouth. I'm getting...
But you might be able to eat more of them if the flour is like absorbing moisture or something. I don't really know what the science is there.
Oh my God, 210 calories per taco. Oh my God.
Well, it's on.
Well,
So we're
then don't eat anything all day, and that's 2,000 calories.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
I
done.
can't do that.
We're-
I'm just going to eat them.
well, either way,
I know.
we're gonna do it. So if you're gonna tune in anyway, tune in. But if you want to see us attempt to eat 36 tacos on our episode, then
We should
join
do
us.
soft
You guys
just because
asked for
crunchy will be in the
episode
microphones.
title, we'll probably say something like Obi-Wan Kenobi season recap and overeating tacos or something. Taco Bell.
No, you should just put the Obi-Wan Kenobi series recap taco challenge.
Taco challenge.
Yeah, I was just gonna say yeah.
People are gonna
Taco
be like,
Bell.
Taco Bell challenge. We have to try to get them involved. Yeah. All right. So that's my thing. We're gonna do it, and it's gonna be terrible, but it's gonna be great.
It's going to be great.
It's gonna be great.
Passion project. It's going to be great.
Hey, Bob. It's gonna be great.
It's going to be great.
All right.
Imagine I just vomit on camera. I'm like,
I might. You never know what's gonna happen. So tune in.
James, are you going to get the Diet Baja Blast?
No, no, it's bad, guys. I mean, it tastes fine, but it makes me
So
sick.
James, Baja Blast or Toydarian Swirl?
No, it's Diet Baja Blast.
Oh, you know what? I would take the Toydarian Swirl.
Wow.
Well, the Baja Blast makes me sick for like days. I'm dizzy
Ooh.
for days. I'm like, I'm not putting up with that. I will just drink it and get it done with.
Does it say like, there's a like potential of getting sick from it or something? That sounds dangerous.
I don't know what it is, but I pinpointed it to that because I've gotten sick from the Mountain Dew Zero stuff before, but I was very not well for multiple days after drinking.
James, do me a favor. Be careful. Says the guy who drinks like 12 beers at a softball game. But anyway,
Yeah, I know.
At like 9 a.m.
settle down now. All right. It's late here, breaking the fourth wall. But for the people who stay at the end of the show, this is why you stay for the end of the show. Sometimes the best parts are at the very end. But thank you to everybody for listening and watching and being a part of TRB. We love you. Share the show with a friend. If you have someone who just got into Star Wars or a family member who likes Star Wars, just do us a favor. Tell them about us. And that's how we grow. So thank you all very, very much. Make sure you are subscribed on your preferred platforms, whether that's audio, video, what have you. And StarWarsNewsNet.com is the place to go for all of your Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. I'll actually be doing my written review of the finale next Wednesday. So look for that on the site.
You mean this Wednesday?
Yes. Oh, Wednesday. Yeah. This Wednesday. Yeah, that's right. No, next Wednesday's the tacos. Look for me throwing up.
Everybody
on the
wonders
episode.
what just happened to their podcast. They were just like, why did it stop playing?
Yeah. No, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. This Wednesday, I'll be doing my written review as well. And you can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey, writing and editing at StarWarsNewsNet.com, and my movie podcast with my buddy Mike called Just Like the Movies, where we talk non-Star Wars movies, and we're doing Jaws next. So look out for that. Lacey, we'll go with you.
James, can I put in a request that on our taco challenge, there's a little counter in the bottom corner
Bing.
with a Grogu holding up cookies, but instead of cookies, it's tacos.
I can.
That just
look
has a
into that.
little circle on his stomach that has like a counter that's like ding.
Oh, we are doing a
I can
counter?
look into that.
Why not?
So who's going to keep track of that?
Well, then
We'll
we'd have
just
to have
hold
three.
it up. We'll hold the wrapper up to the camera and we'll say 3.
I'm going to try to eat these things in one bite.
That's ridiculous. You're gonna dirtbag mode it?
This is going to be the grossest episode in the history of this podcast. But it's going to happen. I might wear a white t-shirt so you can see beef stains on my shirt.
Are we making it
My
a contest?
excitement just went
Or
down
are we
a
just
little bit.
Are we making it a contest, or is it just we're having fun?
No, it's always a competition, but it's a light
Because what do you get if you win?
Tums.
But I'm saying it's like another pie. Is it? What is it? What do we do?
How about this, Lacey? If you can beat John, he doesn't get to throw a pie.
I get to throw the pie.
No, I think just scrapping.
No,
the
I want to
pie.
reverse it, like Uno card reverse it.
But that feels like you're winning 2 competitions.
But then he's gonna get a double pie. He'll get another pie.
Well, I guess, but then you still get a pie.
I'm
I
getting a
don't
pie
know.
anyway. Who cares?
We'll think of something. We'll figure it out.
All right, I guess I would maybe try to get out of the pie.
I'm not signing
Okay,
up for
put in
that.
the comments
But-
what you think we should play for.
And we won't listen to them, but thank you.
We won't listen.
I thought it was for the fate of the pie,
And we
rather
will
than
not
a
listen
new-
to
The
them.
Pies of Skywalker. Remember that?
Yeah.
All right. Here's the deal. We're done.
Sorry.
So
At Lacey Gillerin on Twitter and Instagram.
and James.
There you go.
James.
Oh, did I not do mine? Twitter and Instagram at Matrix.
All right. So
Who's still listening? Right? Pies.
for the
in
6
comments
people
if you're
still listening, you are the diest of hards. So thank you. But yeah, we'll be back with you guys Wednesday with a live show talking about the finale of Kenobi, at least to this point, part 6. And keep a lookout for that and more, including if you're a patron, a lot of our other exclusive stuff. But more important than that, have a great week, and we'll see you next time right here on TRB. See you around, kids.